I'm Heyzeus, and in this video, I'm going to focus on CSGO's most underrated rare skin patterns, the skins that I think most people would love if only they knew they existed. Now, before I start, I want to mention that this video is sponsored by Skinport, the easy to use skins marketplace where you can sell your skins for real cash. More about them later. So, the first thing we're going to look at is case hardens, and not just any case harden. So obviously case hardened skins are famous because of the various blue gem patterns that exist, skins that can easily sell for tens of thousands of dollars.
I sold that one for bank transfer $32,000.
Me.
But there is another type of case hardened pattern that gets hardly any attention, and I want to have a look at it. So you probably know about the FiveSeven case hardened. Like all FiveSevens, it has blue gems, but most of the time you get this mottled thing like I've got here, but it's got another type of pattern, the fade pattern, which, as you might expect, looks a bit like a fade. And this pattern is so slept on that I couldn't even find a good list of the IDs for it, but I'm going to show a few of the top ones I could find. So first of all, there's a 612 pattern. This is sort of a mixed up fade. The blue and the red should be together, but people still seem to list it as a fade pattern, so I guess it counts. I think it looks sick regardless, although I gotta say the lighting in this inspect feature is a massive pain in the ass. There's also the 44 pattern. This one is a little bit splotchy, but on the upside, it does have this cool little insect face at the back of it. But the best of all the patterns I could find was ID number 264. I think this thing is nuts. It actually kind of looks like a fade. It's definitely my favorite case hardened pattern, and I don't understand why it isn't more popular. Although, if you do want one, just be warned that only 128 exist. Now, for number 2, we've got a different skin, the AWP Electric Hive. So, this skin has a number of nice texture patterns that don't seem to get that much attention, and basically, the skin is based around this multicolored texture file, and occasionally, this results in AWPs that are mostly blue or mostly orange. Now, with this skin, we're slightly more spoiled for choice when it comes to patterns than we were with the last one. The best patterns are the vertical ones, so in the case of the blue Electric Hive, that'd be pattern 273. Now, there's also a bunch of lower tier blue Electric Hives too, but as you can see, the texture actually gets rotated a bit, so they aren't quite as good. Now, the orange patterns are easier to get than the blue patterns because there's more orange on the skin, and this produces a much more orange gun too. So there's a bunch of patterns that are basically for orange, like this one, which is pattern 253, or this one, which is pattern 54, or this one, which is pattern 767. So just like case hardens, it's the blue pattern that's rarer and more valuable. In fact, there's only 84 of the number 1 blue patterns in existence, which is literally rarer than a scar pattern. There's actually 100 of those out there, but still, the Electric Hive patterns don't get that much attention these days. I think it's just kind of overshadowed by other AWPs, but honestly, I think they're pretty underrated. Anyway, for number 3, we have the FiveSeven Vagina. And look, I'm not gonna lie, I flaunted the vagina in past videos. There should be a little pop-up on the screen if you're interested in checking that out, but unlike last time where I basically just pointed to it and said, ooh, a vagina, isn't my immature humor funny? This time, I'm gonna be going in deep. So, first of all, I recently found out that there's actually 3 of these patterns rather than just 2. So, famously, there's the lady pattern, pattern ID 662, and the close-up pattern, pattern ID 909. But there's one more pattern, ID 590, which is essentially just another close-up with a little bit of a difference. And believe it or not, these things are actually pretty hard to get. Between these 3 patterns, there's only 1,096 skins in existence. That's not that many. These things are a fairly rare pattern, and given its incredible novelty value, you might be left wondering, why hasn't it become more famous? Why aren't collectors fighting over it? I mean, you would have thought it'd be extremely popular with CSGO's main demographic. I mean, those dick stickers were a massive hit. Well, part of the reason might be this. You see, McSkillet actually refused to cover this pattern when he made a video on Kami patterns years ago. And honestly, I think that's a big part of the reason this thing isn't more popular. But here on the TDM Heyzeus YouTube channel, we have no such concerns about covering topics like this. And today, I'm doing my part to give this pattern the fame it deserves. Now, given we've just been talking about a vagina pattern, I think it's important we bring some gender diversity into this episode and talk about a cock pattern as well. And you might be thinking of the case-hardened huntsman knife dick pattern, the infamous skin. Only 6 of them exist, and look at this, the bloody Americans have their hands all over it. But there is a slightly more accessible cock pattern on the boom. If you look at this skin, you will notice something very profane right next to the part of the gun you're supposed to grab onto. Now, this pattern's heyday was back in 2014 and 2015. People seem to have largely forgotten about it now, and it's so long ago that it's actually hard to find out what the correct patterns are. This one is a 141, but I think there's actually better ones out there. The only problem is, I can't work out what the ID is. So if you are someone who does happen to know, make sure that you share the cock with us in the comments, because I would just love to see it. And finally, I want to mention the slaughter knives and the many patterns that exist for the thing. Now, trading in slaughter knives isn't big anymore, but during the early days of CSGO, it was huge. And one of the cool features about it was that it was basically the skin's equivalent of an LSD trip. It made people see things. Now, true OGs will remember the Sid the Sloth pattern. This one's ID is 340, only 8 exist, but several of them are currently on sale. So if you're a big fan of Ice Age, well, this could be a moment. But look, Sid is a friendly, goofy character. Who doesn't like Sid? What if I told you though, there was a bunch of slaughter knives with creepy, disturbing faces coming to haunt your dreams? I mean, these are literally just random patterns, but I don't know, I think I'm seeing some things. Now, to balance that out, there is also the angel pattern, salvation at last, I guess. Although, I gotta say, this one, which by the way is definitely an angel pattern, looks more like one of the Mongolians from South Park to me. But as I said, this skin makes you see things, and this whole seeing shit business was so widespread that there's literally a category people used to have for slaughter knives called insert pattern you think you see here. As it happens, the whole slaughter knife craze actually died down before there was ever really a proper list made of all the different patterns, and for all its wackiness, the rarest patterns were actually diamond and heart patterns, which is surprisingly boring compared to some of the wacky slaughter knife patterns that are out there, but hey, at least you could sleep at night after seeing these things. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed it, hold on. Hello?
女士们、先生们、
Oh, hi Chairman G.
同志们、朋友们，
Wait, what?
大家好，
You don't say.
时节如流。
Well, thanks for that. By the way, free Hong Kong. Sorry, one more skin. There is a fade version of the Black Pearl. Black Pearls are a really rare type of Doppler, and there is an even rarer version of them that looks like a fade. Often, these skins are one of a kind, like this pattern ID 386 Karambit Black Pearl Fade. And honestly, viewing it like this does not do it justice, but in-game, these things are fucking sick. Bloody hell, this thing was once literally traded for a souvenir Dragon Lore, and honestly, it looks like a pretty good trade to me. Maybe I'll do a whole video on these things one day with some proper in-game footage, but I couldn't finish without properly mentioning them. And with that, we're done. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe, massively appreciated, and a big thank you to Skinport for sponsoring this channel. Skinport, formerly known as SkinBay, it's the same site. All that's changed is the name, is a skins marketplace and cash out site. It's safe, convenient, easy to use. It's got a super competitive sales fee of 5% if you put skinport.com in your username, a really low fee if you're looking to sell your skins. If you're looking to buy instead, it's got a ton of great deals with over 100,000 CSGO skins listed, as well as easy to use deposit and withdrawal options. Awesome site, check it out, link is in the description. Anyway, that's it from me. As always, trust the numbers, not your guts. I'm Heyzeus. Thanks for watching, see ya.